What kind of love leaves 99 to chase after one? That's a strange move in any story, unless you know what kind of story this is. This isn't about animals or numbers. This is about people, about you, about me. Here on Story of Grace, we're diving into one of the most mind-bending stories Jesus ever told, the story of the lost sheep. It's raw, it's real, and it's full of heart. This isn't some soft Sunday school tale. It's the story of God doing the unthinkable for the one who walked away. Stick with us, because this one might just hit you where you live. Why this story still hits hard. How does a story thousands of years old still feel like it was written for today? Because it's not just about what happened. It's about what's still happening. This isn't an old parable stuck in a book. This is life, right now. People feel forgotten, overlooked, like they don't matter. But this story blows that lie wide open. It reminds us that even when you're out of sight, you're never out of God's mind. We live in a time where people scroll past your pain, where the world says, move on. But God doesn't. This story shows us a love that stops everything for one person. And not just any person. The one who wandered off. The one who ran. The one who broke things. That's who this story is for. When Jesus spoke these words, he wasn't in a cathedral or a palace. He was in the middle of a group of people who knew what it meant to be judged. They had baggage, reputations, regret, and still, he told this story for them. That should tell us something. The scene that changed everything. Ever seen someone sit at the wrong table on purpose? Jesus did that. He sat with the outcasts, with people the world said were too far gone. And the religious leaders? They weren't fans. They whispered. They questioned. Why does he eat with them? Jesus hears it. And he doesn't scold them. He doesn't argue. He tells a story. That's the scene. That's where this parable was born. Not out of silence, but out of tension, out of people being judged, out of love being misunderstood. Jesus says, imagine you have 100 sheep. One gets lost. What do? Most people would write it off. We've still got 99. But not this shepherd. He leaves the crowd. He steps into the unknown. He searches. And when he finds that sheep, he doesn't yell. He doesn't punish. He lifts it. He carries it home. That's not just good shepherding. That's love on a whole different level. 1 out of 100 still matters. Who risks everything for 1%? Only someone who refuses to see people as percentages. That's what makes this story wild. 1 out of 100 isn't efficient. It's reckless. But love isn't about logic. It's about value. God sees the one. Not just the crowd. Not just the stats. He sees the one who disappeared quietly. The one who didn't say goodbye. The one who stopped praying, stopped hoping, stopped believing. And instead of waiting, he moves. He goes. He looks. The world might forget you. But God can't. It's not in him. You're not just a face in the crowd to him. You're the one he notices when no one else does. God doesn't wait for a comeback. Most people expect you to fix yourself before you're welcomed back. But God flips that idea. He doesn't stand at the gate with a checklist. He's already on the path, already in the mess, already calling your name. The shepherd didn't demand the sheep crawl back. He went to it. That's different. That's grace in action. And that's the kind of love most people have never seen. So many carry guilt like a backpack full of bricks. But this story says, drop it. You're not loved because you made it home. You're loved while you're still lost. And when you're found, God doesn't say, took you long enough. He says, welcome back. The joy that doesn't make sense. Why would someone throw a party for a sheep? Because that sheep wasn't just a sheep. It was a symbol, a picture of you, of every person who ever thought they were done for. The shepherd comes back, not quiet and tired, but pumped. He calls his friends. He celebrates. That's Jesus showing us how God responds. Not with a sigh of relief, but with full-blown joy. Heaven throws a celebration, not over the 99 playing it safe, but over the one that came home. That tells us what moves God's heart. It's not performance, it's return. It's that first step back, when religion misses the mark. Let's get honest. A lot of people have given up on church because they met judgment before they ever met grace. That's not how it's supposed to be, and that's not what Jesus stood for. This story is Jesus calling that out. He's saying, you've missed the point. To the religious leaders who thought they were better, Jesus paints a picture where the real hero isn't the rule keeper. It's the shepherd chasing after someone who blew it. Jesus didn't come to prop up a system. He came to break down the walls that keep people out. He showed up with open arms. And that's what this story screams from beginning to end. Being lost doesn't mean you're hopeless. Some of the best stories start with someone getting lost. And this one is no different. The sheep didn't plan to drift. It just did. Slowly. Step by step. Sound familiar? Sometimes we don't even know we're lost until we look up and can't see the way back. But God sees. He doesn't panic. He pursues. Not with anger, but with rescue in his heart. You don't need to know the way back. You just need to know you're not alone. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being found. And the shepherd is already looking, already near. This story is your story. You've probably heard this parable before, but maybe today it hits different. Maybe today you realize you're not just hearing it, you're living it. This is personal. Jesus didn't tell this story for applause. He told it for connection, for hope, for you. We all have moments we'd rather erase, roads we wish we'd never taken. But this story says, none of that disqualifies you. You're still wanted, still valuable, still seen. So if you felt too broken, this story says, you're not. If you felt too far, this story says, you're closer than you think. The message that shakes everything. Jesus didn't just drop this story and walk away. He meant it to shift something, to wake something up, to flip the script. This is a message that dares to say, no one is too far. No story is too messed up. No mistake is final. And maybe you're thinking, that's good for others, but not for me. Stop. This is for you. You're the reason he told the story. You're the one he left the 99 for. That's not dramatic. That's truth. You're not invisible. You're not replaceable. You're not forgotten. You are still worth the search. Read that again. You are still worth the search. Not because of what you've done, not because of who you've impressed, but because of who you are. You don't earn this kind of love. You just receive it. Let that sink in. No chasing, no striving, just standing still long enough to be found. This story isn't about religion. It's about rescue. It's not about guilt. It's about grace. So maybe today is your moment to stop running, to let yourself be carried. You're not just part of the crowd. You're the one that matters to God. Right here, right now. This story isn't ancient history. It's your reality. So if this message meant something to you, hit that like button, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to Story of Grace so you never miss another moment like this. You're loved, you're seen, you're still worth it.